While chairing today's afternoon sitting, the Speaker Anita Among directed the Minister of Education and Sports to report to Parliament on the recently approved school fees statutory instrument as time draws nearer to schools reopening.
I want to re-echo the issue of increasing school fees. The fees are being increased amidst the economic crisis that we are in. I want the owners of the schools, private schools, government schools, to make sure that they follow the circulars that have been given by Minister of Education, and Minister of Education should also make sure they make a follow-up on how much fees are charged to these children.
Under government statutory regulations, schools are slated to charge at least 260,000 or at most 1.6 million shillings depending on the nature of schools, location, staff salaries, feeding of the learners, and administration costs, among others. The MPs raised concerns on this.
Honourable Speaker, through you, I humbly request that the Minister of Education tables before this House the statutory instrument explaining and clarifying the issue of capping of fees. Because, Honourable Speaker, the information we are picking from the media is not conclusive.
On the issue of school fees and school charges, I want to confirm to you that the Ministry of Education is considering this and has prepared a cabinet paper which is going to be discussed on Monday, and on the side of government we'll be able to inform you and the country on the possible direction that we are taking.
Legislators pointed out on the tricks used by some institutions to hide extra fees under requirements such as development fees, hence widening the burden on the parent.
Different schools are hiding costs. They don't call it school fees, but they hide. The fees remains the same. Then they bring in issues like development fees. They bring in certain items that automatically make the school fees very, very high. And when the minister is bringing the statutory instrument, this should be covered. He should have something that is very clear, like he committed himself.
It is not just about school fees, but we need equity in this country. Why should we have government-aided schools? Some schools established by certain institutions, the government gives them capitation grant. The government gives them development fees. The government pays teachers, but they still charge more than even university.
Meanwhile, MPs have also asked government to explain on the fate of science students at the universities under the Higher Education Students Financing Board, who are on the verge of dropping out due to failure by government to provide funds to the students' loan scheme.
Science students in universities who are on the verge of dropping out of school because the Higher Students Financing Scheme Board has not been provided with funds. They need just about 5 billion shillings to be able to take on 1,000 students who, some, this is their last semester, others are in their final year.
I thought the issue raised by the Honourable Saro Pendi relating to science students in higher institutions whose monies have not been remitted was a matter of emergency. The question would be, is the minister and by extension government aware of this void for it to remain pending, or they are part of the absentee government and they're not aware of their responsibility?
We shall take up these issues with the Ministry of Education and report to the House accordingly.
The school fees regulation policy, which is still being considered, sets the minimum and maximum school fees and requirements all schools should follow. Failure to adhere to set standards attracts a fine between 1 million shillings and 20 million shillings or 1 year imprisonment. Story compiled by Fred Kajubi for the news at Parliament.
Download the app on App Store or Google Play Store now. Vision Digital Experience, the future of media.